What is good, my people? I'm playing some more Sultai Living End. Main deck, I think, is pretty stock at this point. Sideboard, I've been told to play Nimble Obstructionist, so I'm doing it. Pretty stock list. Otherwise, I got one Dismember because Tameo decks are kind of popular right now. Playing against a lot of blue. Anyway, let's play the games. Alright, we've lost the die roll. This hand's okay. We're up against Rap God. Making sure I said that right. There's a Luigi player in Super Smash Bros. Named Rap Monster. I think that's a good name. Alright, that was a good draw. I'm going to take some damage here from our lands. We're not going to have time to play around Urza Saga. They're just going to get whatever artifact they're going to get. We're just going to have to deal with it. This appears to be the new Affinity deck. Do I care about those boots? Let's look at what we draw. I think there was a SpongeBob about it, like, I want those boots, Mr. Krabs. It's kind of how my opponent feels right now. I want it, I want it, I want those boots. I think that's how it went. So if I counter that, it turns off Mox Opal. The problem is our opponent is going to just get like a Tormod's Crypt. I don't care about this. Could come back to bite me. I think we might get something better. They still have 4 cards in hand. Land wasn't the worst draw there. Use the ability. I actually kind of like Sky Turtle here. I can't really explain why. I just do. Another Shardless Agent would be good. It would help us play around this first, what I assume is going to be Graveyard Hate Spell. Yeah, there it is. Tormod's Crypt, as expected. The opponent has no lands. I will be forcing that Thoughtcast. Subtlety's not at its best, especially in this situation. Yeah, like, what are we going to do? Get an Ornithopter? Now, they do have probably 4 Kappa Cannoneers in the deck, so they are actually somewhat close to casting that. I can at least... Well, I didn't draw the land. Yeah, I'll use Disciple. I'm just going to play the land. Take the damage down to 10. Force my opponent to use their Tormod's Crypt. Also get an artifact off the board on their side. That actually matters because they're 1 land away from casting Kappa Cannoneer. I'm kind of assuming this is the blue-red affinity deck with that warp creature. The something emissary, I think. I just call it Artifact Dude. Alright, we reset the opponent's artifact counter pretty low. This game's going great. Another Tormod's Crypt, so they have multiple main deck. This is probably an Emery deck. They're like going really deep on these artifacts. Shadow Spear, yeah, they can equip up a creature if they ever play one. Just bash in. Play the land. Put that in the yard, and we'll cast Endurance here, most likely. There's an Urza Saga. So these artifact tokens are going to get pretty big. Still going to play out my creatures. Get rid of the opponent's graveyard. Play the land. We can subtlety a creature or bounce the first artifact token. And if they do nothing, I'll just continue playing endurances. And that's assuming they have a land to make that artifact anyway. There's a Saga token. If they had a land here, they could also play Kappa Cannoneer, and if they do that, I think that's good for us, because I'll use Subtlety. It's called Pinnacle Emissary. I'm just going to Subtlety. No, I don't have him. I don't have the blue. Darn. Don't have the blue. I drew all green lands and no blue. Opponent has nothing else, though. Something I'm not going to do is pitch the Sky Turtle to the Subtlety, though. More subtleties. Okay, now I could pitch a Subtlety. And if they go to equip up here the Pinnacle Emissary to gain life, then I believe that's lethal on the crackback. What a good start to the video. Just a nice non-game where the opponent didn't have lands. They make the dude. I don't blame them. It does block my Overlord clean. And there is no Windcaller Aven in this deck, so I cannot give flying. Does Shadow Spear give equip to? Or does it give a hexproof? Okay, so Shadow Spear does not give hexproof. It makes things lose hexproof. It does not give any inbuilt protection, so that's cool. I'll just let them go to their end step, bounce it, win the game. How about that? All right, we're off to a blazing start. Yes, pick up Sky Turtle. All right. Going to the board, I have a good sideboard for this deck. I've got 1, 2, oops, 3, 4, 5. I think I want these harvesters. No, if I Living End, all the creatures are gone. Never mind. And I'll bring in Awaken. Just different ways to kill Urza Saga and stuff like that. And then coming out, I think will be Subtlety. Subtleties. I think I'll sideboard like that. Kappa Cannoneer is a good creature to Subtlety, so maybe in game 3 we'll have to bring Subtlety back in for that. Pretty good opener here. Wish I had one more green card, but that's what Street Wraith is for. The reason I take out Subtlety is because the only creature I really want to pitch cast it for is Kappa Cannoneer. The rest of their creatures are so bad that I don't care. Alright, opponent taps their land and passes the turn. That's another Street Wraith. That could be another green card even. I think I get blue-black with this fetch land here. What are they doing with this mana? There's Pinnacle Emissary. I don't have any hopes of finding Subtlety, but we don't need it. Yes, that's really good. That's a second copy of a Cascade spell, really. So until they play... Yeah, I'm going to hold on to these Street Wraiths because one of the ways they beat us is Tormod's Crypt, and we can just hang on to these Street Wraiths for a post-Tormod's Crypt. Now the only thing I need is a land. That's a lot of Street Wraiths. Okay. Opponent had kind of a bad turn last turn. They played their artifact guy and only made one token. If they have another land here, I think I would have just held it. They could have another Tormod's Crypt, so I'm not going to counter that. I can still beat that fairly easily. So I'm going to try to draw. All right, I'll use one Street Wraith here and see what's going on. If I hit like a Generous Ent, that's really good. Foundation Breaker is also good enough. I'll just chill. We've got time here. I don't have anything to get back that I really want to get back with Overlord. So I think instead what I'll do is evoke. I do kind of wonder if I should be preserving my life total or he's going to use the Tormod script here. All right, now that he's used the Tormod script, I'll look for a land. Good. That was great. And now we've just got everything. Opponent attacks for 2. Fortunately, they don't have any signal pest over there. Sometimes I wonder if just old classic affinity would be good. I used to do a lot of losing to that deck. Okay. Let's just start slinging dirt at the opponent. If they counter this with just a normal counter spell, then I've got Halo Forager to get another Living End out of the graveyard. If they don't counter it, my board's decent. They've got nothing going on. They don't have any artifacts for improvise. I think they just kind of kept a couple fail hands. I can't remember. They might have mulliganed. This deck is very powerful. I've definitely lost to it a fair amount. But LSV did talk about in a recent video that I think was posted today about the modern metagame. This is not a deck for people who handle negative variance poorly because you're going to have just a lot of stinker hands. It's a little bit of a glass cannon combo deck. I will get Overgrown Tomb so I can leave up Endurance and smash with everybody. I don't think Tormod's Crypt matters anymore. You can have that. Yeah, they just drew the wrong cards in the wrong order this game. Start by attacking with everybody. Kapow. I respect not blocking with Ornithopter because that could be used to cast something with Improvise, maybe. I think they're a little bit too far out of this game, though. Urza Saga just way too late to do much. All right, 1-0. Round number 2 here with Sultai Living End. I'm going to mulligan that hand. It doesn't do anything. That's a little better. I'll keep that. What do I need here? I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lands. Which of these is the worst? I think Disciple. I think Disciple has the least value in our hand and the most value in our library. We could hit it with like a Overlord of the Baelmerk later. Whereas if I were to hit Sing in a Stupor with Overlord, that'd be terrible. Not terrible, just wouldn't be as good. And this is looking like it might be the Mirror or Simic Midrange or potentially Neoform. Not the best hand in any event. Definitely going to need some help to be a combo with this hand. Simic Midrange is very combo-y. Its combo is, it's just, I'll keep that on top actually. Shoot, I shouldn't have kept that on top. I'm thinking anti-combo right now, but if they're just mid-range, I don't want that card on top. The Simic mid-range deck with Birthing Ritual is super powerful. I think it might actually be better than the Neoform deck, and it's probably better than Living End. Maybe I'm biased when I say that, because I think it lines up somewhat well against me. All right, I can at least use Curator now. All right, we can rule out the Living End Mirror. They would have gotten different Surveil lands. Yep, okay, it's some sort of a... This is a Neoform. I think this has to be Neoform. All right, I will get one land out of my deck before I cycle. And this also has the upside of getting that Disciple of Fraley's off the bottom, so I can hit it with a future Murktide. Not Murktide, Overlord, you know what I mean. Doesn't matter, I was going to do that anyway. And cycle. Subtlety would be a sick draw. I'm just trying to draw subtleties right now. Okay, if I go Overlord of the Baelmerk, I have to draw. I have to hit a subtlety. But if I just pass the turn, I've got 2 counter spells. And I can eventually get up to 5 mana to do both. I'm glad I have the Inevitable Betrayals. I hadn't been playing those in Sultai, but I put them back in recently. Opponent is having mana problems, so that is good for us. Play the tap land. I'll keep the counterspell on top. Counterspells are good against this deck. Something we do have to look out for is they do have Hooting Mandrills, which is a 1-mana Allosaurus Shepherd in some instances. Also, I can't Living End right now because they have a Grizzlebrand in the graveyard. But I think as long as we just prevent them from comboing, we'll find another way to win. We have Endurance in our deck. We have creatures that can attack. There is the Rider. Is it better to bounce this to their hand, or is it better to Flare of Denial the next spell? They have to have 2 more green cards plus Neoform. They have no lands. They actually may have 2 more green cards plus Neoform. I'm just going to counter this right now. Hmm. Yeah, so if they have 2 more green cards in Neoform, I'm just dead here if I sink it. They could also have, like, Veil of Summer land. They could also have Pact of Negation. They have a lot of cards in hand. I can't play around everything. Yeah, there's Pact of Negation. All right. Do your worst. Okay, they have nothing. And now I can Overlord. Hopefully hit Subtlety. And I can Force of Negation something. Actually, if I pick up a blue card here, I can sink their next, or I can sink this in response to a spell. All right, I'd like to pick up a blue card, please. Subtlety's a good one. Don't forget to play your land. I really enjoy this matchup. There's some combo matchups I don't like playing, but for whatever reason, I enjoy playing this one. All right, go ahead and lose the game. I'm just assuming they can counter this somehow. Consign, replicate. All right, can I do anything about that? No, I cannot. Even if I counter, they're going to have the second one. Okay. They did use a lot of cards to do that. I think what I'll do if they just attack me is let it through, and then on their end step, bounce the Shepherd. They chose not to attack, thinking about endurance. That's smart. Number 1 plus the number of lands you control. Let's go ahead and bounce this. That's a lot of lands. We're going to find out what wins, Mana Flood or Mana Screw. Typically, Mana Screw wins in these kind of games, because if someone's alive long enough to complain about Mana Flood, they don't have anything to do. They would have killed you before they complained about it. Not countering anything. Not falling for it today. Just play that and pass. I realize I forgot to crack Misty Rainforest. I don't think it matters too much. A little bit of deck thinning would have been nice. I did draw a non-creature spell anyway. Opponent hits their 3rd land, immediately fetches. Are they going to get another Surveil land? See, I like this deck and I kind of want to play it just because it has 4 copies of Hedge Maze. Hedge Maze is such a fun card to play with. If you don't like Hedge Maze, then you just don't like blue-green tap lands. In fact, that does it. I'm getting one right now. How does my... It doesn't... They don't have anything I want to use in their graveyard. And none of my instants or sorceries are any good with that card. Scholar is a good one. Still got Hardcast, Force, or Subtlety up. If I was the opponent, I wouldn't do anything about this either. Let's discard 2 cards. Let's discard Int Odawara. I don't think I need either of those. Yeah, they could have Endurance, and they probably do. I'll play the land. But like I said, I'm not depending on my graveyard to win this game. I'm just going to kill them with a Subtlety or an Overlord or a Steamcore Scholar, or just accumulated frustration. They are in Hooting Mandrill's territory. What I can't remember is if this deck plays Harbinger of the Tides in their sideboard. All right. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. I'm gonna leave up double flash spell instead of casting another Overlord. I think one Overlord is sufficient. Opponent has 8 cards in hand. I think I'm just gonna counter that. Okay, but if I don't counter that and I just fight over whatever they do next, then they have to pay this next turn, so they have to hit a land in addition to everything else. All right, you can have Summoner's Pact. They might just use it to go get, like, Hooting Mandrills. No, they get Xenagos, so they're planning on that one dinosaur that lets you put, like, everything from your hand into play. I suppose. No, you may not. They'll probably have a counterspell for this, but I've got a counterspell for that. They have Pact cast. If I had one more land, I could have used Overlord too. Yield to all. All right, well, they have double Pact. Can I win the game? They have to do a lot of damage here. All right, that's 4 Pact triggers next turn that they have to get. I wonder if they have enough damage. Disciple of Freyles. Gaining life isn't what matters. Yeah, they have Galta. Yeah, they have enough damage. Okay. A little bit of a bummer. The opponent got us there. It's a fun game, though. I'm going to bring in all my blue cards. Awaken doesn't matter. Ashiok is good. They can't search their library. And they don't play instants or sorceries. And by the time they've cast Neoform, it's too late to dismember whatever it is. So, I want to leave in basically everything that interacts with the stack. I'm going to take out Halo Forager because I don't think my graveyard's going to matter. I think they're going to be able to put something ridiculous in the graveyard. And at that point, casting Living End won't be as important. Oh, that's right. Living End just comes out anyway. And leave an Endurance in. All right. Feeling good about this. I think we're favored in this matchup. All right, there's some sideboard cards. Plus an Ashiok, plus a pseudo counterspell. Heck yeah, we're ready to roll. I feel good about this game. Live polymarket bets on whether or not I win this game right now. For 55 cents, you can win $1 if I win the game. Let's graveyard that. We can pick it up later. Overlord is such a nice card. I wish there was a way to play more Cascade spells with Overlord. Living End might be like actually tier 1 if we could play true 8 Cascaders in 3 colors with Overlord. I know there's people out there playing 4 color. I haven't tried it. Maybe I need to try it. I struggle to play correctly enough with 3 color though. I'm not sure if 4 color is really what I need to do. I think I just need to play better with 3 color first. Not the land I wanted. Oh, shoot. Well, darn. Alright, I hurt myself for no reason. Darn it, that was really bad. See, that's what I'm talking about. I just wasn't paying attention there. Maybe I can cycle this curator. And hit a land. Planar Genesis. Would I force this even if I could? Inevitable Betrayal was a terrible draw. Let's not even pretend like it wasn't. So now we only have 1 in our deck. That should be all we need. Subtlety was a great draw. I feel much better about this game now. I only have 1 endurance, and I took out. I'm going to put that on top and just plan on pitching it. I only have 1 endurance, and I took out Halo Forger. That's just unlucky. 2 inedible betrayals in our top 12 cards, top 13 cards. That is horrifically unlucky. There's the Summoner's Pact. All right. They get the Allosaurus Rider. And they've got to win now or have Consigned to Memory to counter their own trigger next turn. I'm going to counter that with Subtlety pitching Inevitable Betrayal. They've probably got 1 counterspell here. We know they have a Neo form. What they exile? Eldritch. Pact. Okay. Pact resolves. I'm gonna pitch Obstructionist. Their last cards now have to be Neoform Counterspell. And I know leaving that, they consign the trigger, that sucks, but they only have 1 card left in hand. Darn it. Well, opponent just had 1 more card than we did both games. And frankly, we got really unlucky. I've seen enough. We got really unlucky having both Inevitable Betrayals like right there. All right. Next match. All right, round number 3. That's a good hand. Just needs a Cascade spell or an Overlord to get going. That's kind of, actually, it's kind of Curator dense. Okay, this appears to be Prowess. We at least have a bounce spell, I guess. This appears to be Corey Steelcutter Prowess. Alright, the program spazzed out, but it didn't crash. Go ahead and just F6 this turn. Opponent hits us for 2. Ouchie. They draw an sack on our turn. I'm going to take 2. That way I can defer deciding what I do with this fetch land. Now that I have black, I can use the fetch land for a basic, for an island, and then the generous end for the basic forest. But if I do that, I can't hardcast Endurance. So like I said, I can defer what to do. Opponent plays Wooded Foothills. There's another fetch land. And they choose to Lava Dart me. Still not much going on from our opponent. Living End was a pretty horrific draw. I'm just going to play the Misty and pass. I think I'd actually like to cycle both Curators because I think I have to draw Cascade Spell pretty soon here. And if this Monastery Swiftspear gets too big, I can Sky Turtle it. I don't want to take that option away yet. We've avoided the Quarry Steel Cutter quite nicely, skillfully on my part. It's Expressive Iteration. I'm going to look for a Force of Negation. But I'm not going to hurt myself to do that. Especially main deck, they've already tapped 2 mana. They can't play a Steel Cutter. And I can deal with this later with an Endurance if I don't die. Although this needs to be a forest. Too late for that. Opponent hits us for 3. That's a big ouchie. Alright, Cascade Spell will be big. We don't get it. So we're forced to pass the turn. They play another copy of what's it called? Expressive Iteration. Man, I'm not good with Magic card names. They go back to Delirium. They have Steel Cutter. Gosh, remember when we were playing Singleton with Lutri and we lost because I killed their Steel Cutter, which gave them Delirium, which killed me. That was having flashbacks. It's like Vietnam. And I think what I'll do here is make Delirium go away. We make Delirium go away. And then I think I'll block Swift Spear. They've got to use Lava Dart right now if they're going to use it. They do use the Lava Dart. And they target me. Okay. Kind of glad, actually, that they didn't target my Endurance now unless they have 2 Lightning Bolts. Because now I can still block Swift Spear. Yeah, I think I want to preserve the life. Taking 1 from Dragon's Rage Channeler is not the worst. They Violent Urge. They should have done that while they had Delirium. They're not going to have Delirium. So digging to counter this is not helpful. Because if I don't hit it, I lose. Yeah, Endurance dies, whatever. Okay. Need to draw a counterspell. I mean, I've also got Bounce. So I'll look for... Well, I can't use that, unfortunately. Okay, what I'm going to have to do here is just hope that this Bounce spell is good enough. Slick Shot, Show Off. That's pretty bad for us. Okay, that was just unlucky. We got through 17 cards, didn't see Cascade Spell. Against them, Harvester's good. Mystical's good. And I think I want Honored Dead. I'll take out Street Wraiths. I'm just going to take out my Street Wraiths. And I think one copy of Steam Core is just kind of slow. The opponent went to time sideboarding, so I don't know if they even sideboarded. This is just a totally miserable hand. Because I got 2 copies of Harvester of Misery. I'm just going to start firing them off because they're not like a limited resource. Yeah, I'm just going to use it. Early and often. Okay, hopefully they don't have any mutagenic growths. But if I draw a green source naturally that I can play, I'll just kill it with Awaken. Well, that was not actually the worst. They don't seem like they're holding up anything. And if they were, it's too late now. Full disclosure, I did dip into the friendly leagues. I was just hitting nothing but blue matchups in the competitive league. I'm getting a lot of 3-2s and 2-3s, just kind of middling success. All right, we'll go ahead and impend. Yeah, and I think I'm going to pick up, let's see. They have creature, sorcery, creature. If our opponent was to play another Swift Spear, then they could save it from this with any instant. If they were to play another Dragon's Rage Channeler, they would need to have multiple instants binning 2. They would need to have like instant that was either a buff spell. I think it's safer just to get Generous Ent and get another land. I still have a removal spell too. Hedge Maze, where you at? Nice. All right, we did it. We drew the combo. The Halo Forager combo. Although, I mean, you know me, I'm on record. Halo 1, 2, and 3 are pretty much all I need. I didn't hate Reach, but I wasn't nuts about it. Hopefully this doesn't kill me. I'm banking on Slick Shot Show Off not finishing me off here. I let that resolve pretty quickly. Halo 1 and 2 are my favorite to play. The Halo 3 campaign is epic, but it falls a little flat, I think, overall. I wish there were more levels on the Ark. I did not like in Halo 3 how half the game was on Earth. I thought Earth was just an uninteresting place for that game to be set on when we had the Ark. But, I mean, at least we have it. And honestly, ODST was great. People who are sleeping on ODST are missing out. Because, I mean, ODST had all the Earth levels. So if they were going to give us Halo ODST, I wish they would have given us fewer Earth levels in Halo 3. Part of me wonders if they didn't know they were making Halo ODST. Because it might have just been like Microsoft and Bungie just realized they're making so much money off Halo. They had to do whatever they could to just pump something out with Halo in the title to get sales. Because nothing sold like Halo. I mean, if you had an Xbox back in the day, it was a Halo box, and then maybe you played other games on it. There was a game called Crackdown that came out maybe 6 months or a year before Halo 3 came out. And it was like one of the best selling games if you look it up for the Xbox 360. And the only reason anybody knows anything about that game was because you had to buy that game to get the Halo 3 beta. And it had like 2 really buggy multiplayer maps. There's like Snowbound and some other map. Man, are we just gonna go this whole match without cascading into Living End? Alright, I've got Halo Forger. And as long as I don't die here, I've actually got... Oh, geez. Oh, gosh. Alright, well... What are they doing? So that's gonna happen. I have to 3-card Force of Will here. So I have to hold priority. Cast. Use... Order my triggers. And then... I'm holding control. This better let me do my thing. And then counter that. And I still take a lot of damage, and I still give my opponent back a lot of creatures. Okay. Hopefully I'm not still finished here. I'm not deceased yet. No copies of Lava Dart in the opponent's graveyard. Mill 3 cards. That's pretty good. What did I mill? There's the Shardless Agent. There's another Living End. All right. Okay, but I'm going to give him creatures back, but I'm going to have Harvester. So never mind. This is great. Almost skipped my turn. Didn't. Boom. All right, I think we've done it, unless they have Force of Negation as their last card. Blue, whatever, black. Okay. Pay 0. Opponent has consigned to memory. That's not good for us. It's bad for us. Okay, I've at least got a blocker. You may discard a target when you return a creature card. Okay, so the way this works is I'm gonna have the card in my hand. I can discard it for a Shardless Agent. As long as I live to the next turn and the card I draw is not Living End, and my opponent doesn't kill me here. That doesn't technically kill me. They do get 3 looks at like a mutagenic growth. And they left whatever it was on top. Man, oh man. Okay, they've got mutagenic growth. No matter what they target, I lose the game. Darn it. I feel like I'm not playing that bad. However, these matchups are just not going my way. 14 Soren's Obliterator. That's a good name. I wish I'd thought of that name. I'm going to keep this hand because it's got hopefully Overlord into a Shardless Agent. This hand's low on interaction, but that's just the kind of guy I am. Opponent plays a Rograine Triumph. Rograine Triumph. How do you say that? Tell me in the comments. Pronounce it in the comments. All right. Hey, look at me. I'm a green-black player. I'm playing Jund. I'm going to cast the Strixhaven command, the black-green one. Witherbloom. Okay. Blue, white, red. Is this blue-white control splashing for Flage, perhaps? Might be what it is. I will get Breeding Pool. Need to play Overlord. Hey, buddy, use your counter spell on this. Counter this spell. Yes, I think I will use the ability. I've already got Shardless Agent, but so what I want to do is pick up Subtlety to protect myself from Teferi. But if I do that, I have to pitch Shardless Agent. But I have another Overlord to pick up another Shardless Agent. Because that is one of the ways I just lose, is if they stick a Teferi next turn. I also have the Street Wraith, which I could trade in. Kind of like, you ever had a Magic Mountain, you win your tickets, you trade them in for like pencil erasers and stuff. Candy. I used to like that place when I was a kid. It was fun. I had a big garbage bag full of tickets that I won. And I don't think I ever even used them for anything. I think we lost the garbage bag or Magic Mountain went out of business. Overlord ticks down. I should set a reminder on that trigger to skip it, to stop reminding me. All right, opponent appears to be solidly in red. Could this be Storm? I think they, well, we'll find out this turn, I think, if they're Storm. I think they would have done something last turn if they were Storm. There's Odawara. That kind of makes me think they might not be Control. Because I don't remember Odawara being played in like blue-white Control. Also, I was just thinking during our Neoform match, I was thinking maybe there was a window there where I could have just leaned on Obstructionist to do a lot of work. But then the problem is if I'm obstructioning an Atraxa trigger, they still have Atraxa in play. And I couldn't deal with that. So totally irrelevant. Just something I was thinking about. Apropos of nothing. Let's go ahead. Do I want to use my Street Wraiths? I don't think I'm going to Cascade this turn. Yeah, I want to use my street race to hit a fourth. Did I already play land? I can't remember. That's a lot of overlords. I already played a land. All right, I could have looked that up. That was lazy. The problem is, once again, if I go Shardless Agent, they counter my Living End, and then they play Teferi. I can't do anything about that. So what I'm going to do is Overlord. I'm going to pick up Shardless Agent. And now I can pitch to a Teferi and still have Shardless Agent. Is that what I talked about last turn? I can't remember. I'm not real laser focused at the moment. I'm pretty sure that's the exact play I talked about last turn. I did talk about setting a boom, getting rid of that stop. Okay, I wish opponent would show me what they're doing. All we've seen is lands. I don't know if this is some sort of combo. What? What? Glasspool Mimic? Is this the world's weirdest Merfolk deck? What are they doing over there? Okay, it's the Null Drifter ETB deck. Alright, countering this does nothing. So just let that happen. In fact, I would rather not, because then they just cast it again next turn. I think Null Drifter currently has been outclassed by Quantum Riddler. I think Quantum Riddler is a big problem for Living End, actually. It allows our opponents to do nothing on turn 2, while also digging for Force of Negation, or if they have 3 lands, digging for Consign to Memory or Spell Pierce. And then it's like, they've got to do something, and then we don't even get to negate it later. Let's just pick up Island, Force Cycle. I've got my second black here if I ever want to just hardcast Overlords. Bin that. That's just nothing but upside if I get to Living End. They're on Force of Negation or Bust right now. Do I get to Bust? Also, I picked up a second blue card for this Subtlety, which is nice. Okay, opponent didn't have anything. A little bit lucky for us, not gonna lie. I guess I'll bring an Obstructionist. I'm gonna bring an Awaken just because I anticipate them having to Fairy. Mystical, Mystical. I don't think I want Inevitable Betrayal. So I think I'll sideboard in those 4. Sideboard out. Curator, Curator. Maybe Steam Core Force. Just freestyling here. This seems like a deck that once they get a whiff of what you're doing, they're going to just pivot into a very controlling style. And so Force of Negation is not as good because they're less likely to just start tapping out on their turn. Unless they have 3 minutes Fairy, but I did bring in 2 copies of Mystical Dispute, plus Awaken the Honor Dead for that. So even though I took out Force Negation, I have more answers to Teferi. How is this hand? This hand looks good, but is it though? I suppose it's okay. All right, after much thinking, our opponent goes to 6. So it's a fair fight. We're both on 6. Just shock that in. Hopefully we dodge like a rest in peace here. All right, we successfully dodged a rest in peace. Glass Pool Mimic. All right, I think our opponent is trying to copy Null Drifter, but that doesn't make any sense because you don't get the trigger if you copy Null Drifter. I wonder if they have something else that's also muy impresivo. Just like that draw. I think I got an idea for the thumbnail. Let's go to my turn and draw on my turn. All right. Well, drawing 2 living ends here is just kind of a nightmare scenario. Because then after 1 counter spell, we're out of commission. Go ahead and get blue, black, green, black. We got no more blue. Green and black. Don't need that. It's kind of funny. My favorite shock land is Overgrown Tomb. Darn it, I passed the turn. No, I didn't. Nice, nice. My favorite shock land is Overgrown Tomb, but my favorite Surveil land is Hedge Maze. Anyone else feel that way? All right. There's half of the combo, but instead I'm going to impend. I think whatever I do here is not likely to resolve. Could get lucky and hit like a Halo Forager, which I think I would actually take. Use the ability. Are they thinking about consigning this? Use the ability to pick up. Man, I guess I'll pick up a Street Wraith because I have enough blue cards. I'd like to hit a natural land. Did we bin a living end, by the way? Yes. All right. All the living ends are gone. There's no more living ends in our deck. Opponent surveils. We do have a game lead here, and they don't appear to be doing much of anything. I brought in this Awaken the Undead specifically to hit Teferi. Okay, opponent does have Quantum Riddler. But because they're just warping it, I'm not going to counter. I don't think it's worth 2 cards out of my hand. They're having a hard time emptying their hand as it is. Now they could, like, blink it. That would stink. But I do have Awaken at least for that. Yep, they have Effeminate. Let me draw another card. Alright, I think I will Awaken now. It's funny that Warp ability goes on the stack, but it's for a different permanent. Hopefully this resolves. They could save their Riddler with Consign to Memory. Alright, we did it. What's funny is that Awaken the Honor deck can target itself. So if you ever play it on an empty board, you just have to kill it. They have their own Ephemerate, I mean, in addition to the last one. And at least they don't get to double up on it next turn. They're going to have 2 copies of Ephemerate, but only one will resolve. It's just a rough game. Rebound is a May. They don't have to. It doesn't matter, because either way, it's gone. I guess it does matter because it goes to exile versus go to the graveyard. Opponent's making me sleepy. It's 10 o'clock at night. Yeah, this Ephemerate. Did they both resolve? Huh, I'll have to watch that back. Did both of those resolve? I thought only one of them would. Oh well. Whatever happened, I'm sure Magic Online is correct. Magic Online never struggles with card rulings or just basic functionality. Okay. Mill 3 cards. Don't hit the fairy. Nice. We missed the fairy. I'm just going to play a tap land. I don't want to take too much damage. No, wrong card. I want Steam Core. And we'll discard a Living End. We have 2 cards of a 3-card combo. Steam Core Scholar, discard Living End, cast it with Fairy. I mean, I've also got Overlord and Awaken, so Fairy's pretty good in this deck. Opponent's going to counter. I think I've seen enough. Yeah, I don't need to play this game anymore. No more of this game for me, please. What do I want? They didn't play any artifacts or enchantments. I think this is pretty good. Force Negation's not very good against Blink. Actually, I'm just going to bring another Curator and take out a Force on the play. Okay. This one for all the marbles in this match. Golly, there's another Living End in our opening hand. I'm going to mulligan that. I want something better than this. I don't like Subtlety that much in this matchup. Alright, that's a little better, I suppose. Keep, put back, done, land. Pretty good hit. Could have been worse. Could also been friggin' better. Okay, go to our turn. Go ahead and force cycle. Probably should have swamp cycled there actually. But here's what we'll do. We'll get breeding pool and pretend like we did. Because I can cycle either thing. And that way I've got 2 green. If I draw natural land here, I can start playing endurances. Okay, opponent does nothing for another turn. I'll go ahead. I'm actually going to swamp cycle because I want to make sure I hit the land. And I want to keep blue cards in hand for these forces and stuff. Didn't need to shock that in. A little bit of a oopsie there. Did conceal information, but that doesn't matter. I think concealing information like that is way overrated for the most part. Disruptor flute. So this makes Living End cost 6 instead of 3, but I already have 4. So that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. He could name like Misty Rainforest here and hope to pick off my lands. He's gonna name Living End, I think. I think you have to. Nope, Shardless Agent. Okay. Same effect. I think I would have picked Living End. Mr. President, a second Royal Triumph has hit the battlefield. And while opponent thinks about this, I'm going to scroll Instagram. Go to my turn. Kaboom. I don't think I want to play Curator of Mysteries yet. I think I want to hold up Force of Negation and Endurance because if we play Curator of Mysteries, our opponent just slams Quantum Riddler into a Flicker spell. Like we're boned. We're like mega boned. Also, we're 1 land away from being able to just ignore Disruptor Flute. Opponent plays their 4th land. It is the Glass Pool Mimic again, which I don't understand, but I respect it. I mean, I guess we will start just casting endurances. And by start, I mean continue. And really end because I don't have any more. I will, what do you call it? What's a word that's like the opposite of start? But not stop, obviously. I'm trying to think of like a better word. I commenced casting endurances, and now I will preclude casting endurances. Is that what that means? No, I want. Is preclude a word? That doesn't matter. Whatever. PR. No, preclude's not a word. I don't know why I thought it was. We shall surveil. Kind of like Big Turtle. Give me a big flying chungus. Come here, buddy. Welcome to the team. I wonder if I even need this card in Sultai. Sultai's got so much going on. Turtle's a little bit slow. Maybe I don't need it. I can use this as a rebuy spell too. Nothing that good yet. But, you know, if something good shows up in my graveyard, I can go get it with Turtle. I wish we'd play against Mill. I really enjoy that matchup. I don't even think it's good for us, but I enjoy it. There's Chalice of the Void. Let's see. Can I use Turtle to beat this? No, I think I'd like to counter Chalice of the Void. I didn't bring in any artifact or enchantment disruption. All I have is that Awaken the Honored Dead, and it's nowhere to be seen right now. Alright, well, opponent has done nothing, so I think I'm just going to start slamming this Curator into play. Start and finish. Yeah, there's the Riddler. Darn it, they have the land. They have the white. Okay, but they don't have Ephemerate. There's always that. I can bounce in response to an Ephemerate also. So next turn, if our opponent casts Quantum Ruler, that taps all their mana unless they draw land, which they probably do. Charlos cost 6 to cast. I can't quite cast it. That kind of stinks. I'm going to cast Curator of Mysteries. If they just cast Riddle or Go, I can bounce it. They didn't have Ephemerate last turn, which means they have to draw it now. I'm just going to assume they didn't. And I believe they were a little bit light on lands. 1, 2, 3. Nah, they weren't. There's Riddler. I think I'll try to bounce it. to push damage through. Just bottom that. Alright, they didn't save it. I was right. I realize this doesn't finish the opponent off, but it gets him pretty low. Hopefully. Hopefully they don't have Solitude into Flicker. They don't. Okay. I'm going to keep the pressure up with Endurance. This way I can probably just attack through it next turn. Because our opponent has a lot of cards in hand, but they really haven't done much this game. Oh, also there was a Chalice of the Void in play. It's a good thing I couldn't cast that Charlotte's Agent. I wasn't thinking about Chalice of the Void because they played it kind of late in the game. Hey, we did it! 2-2 onto the final round. Alright, round number 5 for all the marbles this time. Last time was just for some of the marbles. But it was all the marbles in that group, so all the marbles was still the right thing to say. This does not have black mana, so I'm gonna mulligan. Okay. Bearable hand, not much I can say about this hand. Really. I'll keep that on top. Just got way better. Maybe I can force something this turn, like a Faithless Looting or something. Another blue deck. Who would have thought? They can consign this trigger. Yeah, I think I'll use the ability. Get back Subtlety, why not? Tameo. Man, I hate that card. I think I'm gonna let it resolve. I'd rather get a clean counter with the Force than a temporary one with Subtlety. Green land to be sick. Sick nasty. Okay, we didn't get a green land. Not sick nasty. I'm going to get Watery Grave here and play it because I want to flip. Oh, they have Cling to Dust also. Great start for our opponent. I want to bounce this Tameo if they go to flip it. I really don't think I can beat a Planeswalker right now. This card's way too good. Have I complained about that yet this video? Like, we had to ban Deathrite Shaman because it was a 1-mana Planeswalker, but this thing's okay. Why not? I mean, isn't it either banned or about to get banned in Legacy? Just because, like, every deck you just start with 4 of them. Cling to Dust. Okay, that's pretty expensive. Alright. I'm gonna bounce Tameo and hope that I draw a land. If I draw a land, I can bounce it, and then I can start subtletying Tameo. If I don't draw a land here, this play is not as good. They have to discard also because I did that. They didn't have another land. Opponent discarded Bitter Blossom. Okay, it's a Bitter Blossom opponent. Oh, and I've drawn another Endurance. Stinky. It's pretty cool. I wonder if this is probably like a ninjutsu. There's that Planeswalker with ninjutsu I've noticed a lot of people playing. So If you have Bitter Blossom, I'm guessing you have that card. And you can't actually counter ninjutsu. So it's kind of important that you don't let them attack. Hopefully this Force of Negation does something here. Otherwise, I don't really have anything efficient to do. I'm not going to use Subtlety on that. I refuse. I refuse to get such little value for my cards. Alright. Opponent doesn't have much. What do I have? Enough. I have enough. No consign. Beat the first test. They could just have counterspell here. That would be fine. Wouldn't be fine, but be understandable. They force. Kind of sucks. And no surveillance, so I don't think that they're counterspelling Shardless Agent. Okay. That's a friendly league play. I've never seen that one before. Cool. I like the counterspell. This reminds me of when I first started playing Magic, and I would dig through my roommate's cards, who's the one that made me play, and I'll never forgive him for that. And he just had all these cards with this really strange art, and you're just looking at these things you've never seen before. This art's pretty cool. I can see why they went away from this style, because it's not real consistent between cards within the set. But, I mean, that's a cool counterspell. If you're still watching the video, make sure you check out Pre-Fire Modern. Honestly, it might be a better format than this. Yeah, there's the ninjutsu I was talking about. They're going to hit me and surveil, and I can't even counter it because it's an activated ability that just puts it in play. Oh, geez. Oh, boy. All right. At least it's not Tamio yet. Okay, I'm getting a little peeved over here. I don't want to deal with Tamio. Hopefully I just draw another Shardless Agent. Street Wraith, that could be Shardless Agent. Man, that choice to not get a green land is really, really biting me here. Yeah, the Overlord comes back, but so what? Tap target creature, put 2 stun counters on it, great. Might as well just do that. That's really good. Yup. Man, this guy does a lot of damage if you don't do anything about him. And now they can flip Tamio. Darn. I mean, I think it was just the right play to just eventually use my... Okay, they're Bitter Blossoming. I think they should have just gone Tamio and flipped it. Like, if they went Tamio here and flipped it, it's a Death Shadow player. The Death Shadow player. Okay. There's at least a blocker. This is going to go to 5. Because of Bitter Blossom. And then, how big is this? This is a 3/4, so that's 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm just dead. I have to block. I'm dead if I don't block, I mean. It's nighttime. When something has 2 stun counters on it, it becomes nighttime and the card gets very dark and goes to sleep. At least I have chump endurances for a while. but I'm gonna die soon. I don't have enough endurances to save myself. I just have to draw Cascade. Opponent has one card in hand. Alright. Good game. Against them, I think I want... Oh, man. Harvester doesn't hit Tameo. Bring in Awaken. I'll put it over here. Alright, I'll bring in Awaken. I think... Do I want Nimble? No. Awaken, Mystical, Dismember. Take out Curator, Subtlety, Steam Core. Maybe actually Force. I think that's better. Oh, darn, I didn't take them out. I just brought them all in. Alright. 64 card special. Oh man, what a video. Nice to sideboarding like that. I usually just start clicking on stuff, but I thought I would start doing the pile sideboarding to make it easier to watch. How are the Reds doing? Reds won. That's always good to see. One of these days I will get to see what my surveil is. I like that. Thank you. And now if I just get to untap without a freaking Tameo in play, I can mystical a future Tameo. Alright, we're doing it. We're doing it. We did it. I will counter a Tameo if given the choice. Go ahead and get Breeding Pool. And then a tap swamp, I believe. Let's get the lands out of my deck. Okay. Yeah, here's what I'm going to do. This might bait out a counter spell on its own. And then I'll shock in and still have mystical. If they counter this, I don't really care. Spell stutter? Yeah, whatever. No. I realize I could have countered that. I wasn't as concerned with Overlord resolving as I am with keeping their side of the board clean. Say no to Psychic Frog. I think that's worth it. I think that's worth my Overlord not resolving. Now they're on Force of Negation or Bust if they don't have a land, which it appears they do not. Dismember's really good. I mean, actually, I think we've passed the point in the game where I'm afraid of a Teferi or of a Tameo. Even if they counter this now, I've got a Shardless Agent with my Flare of Denial, and it's card disadvantage for my opponent. We're each on 3 cards, but my 3 are probably better than their 3. The only way their 3 would be better is if they have a Delve spell. And if they have a Delve spell, I've still got a counter spell. Alright, bash the opponent. And because I'm a Merfolk deck now, I'm just going to cast my creatures and then cast free counter spells to deal with my problems. The problem is if I counter that and then they go for like a Murktide Regent, I don't have a way to get rid of it. Murktide would be 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, I can just dismember that. So what I'll do here is, I think the turtle's more valuable than the dismember, so what I'll do is I'll attack, I'll force them to discard 1 card, and then I'll dismember. They can only make this a 4/5. Opponent is forced into this play. Oops. I don't have to take any damage for this either. Incredible. Opponent gets the Fell For It Again award, but they only fell for that once. So, looking back on that, from their perspective, that attack is so sus, I don't think our opponent should have blocked. Waking the Honor Dead will be a good one in the future. I just have enough counters and removal here that I don't need to apply any more to the board. And I can't double spell for a while anyway, so I'm just going to leave Sync in my hand. Opponent extirpates Overlord. I don't even care. Not that I could do anything about it. Extirpate has split second, which means when they cast it, no one can do anything. Extirpate has the mechanic that most new Magic players just think every card has. I can't make fun of new players, though, because when I learned the game, I didn't understand anything. When I was started playing the game, I thought you could like attack, block, and then once you see blocks, choose something else to attack with, and then reblock. I think I drove my roommate pretty nuts. That card isn't very good, but it does make chump blockers and chump attackers. I'm gonna return it to their hand. They're having mana problems. Yeah, I could use Awaken the Honored Dead. I kind of want something better with that. However they plan on getting back into this game, I want to use Awaken on. And fun fact, Otawara can target my own stuff, so I could pick up this Shardless Agent. I think I'll just naturalize that next turn. I mean, I can also pick up Shardless with a Sky Turtle. I don't see a reason to do that. Go to attack. Oops, need to tap black. Destroy that. Opponent could consign this trigger. They choose not to. I'm not sure what I would have done. I like having my beater in play, but I can also just go get it again with Sky Turtle. I didn't play a land there. Not a huge deal in hindsight. This game might end with the Sky Turtle being cast. But we only need one more land. Opponent has Edict. Do I care? No, I do not. I can discard any card to awaken. That's really good. I could also even return Otawara, or return Awaken with Otawara. No need to do anything yet. Discard Living End. Target Charlotte's Agent. You gotta remember that this goes on the stack, though, if your opponent has graveyard interaction. You don't just want to discard a card for no reason. But they don't. And let's go to second main and cast. We have one Living End in the graveyard, one in exile, which means there's one still in the deck. What's the opponent gonna do? I could have played. Shoot, I could have played a land. Why do I even bother doing this if I'm not gonna play right? I could have played a land, had Flare Denial up. But now that I've already made that mistake, I think the Otawara still has more value in my hand. Attack. Yeah, I played pretty bad this match. Pretty bad. I can redeem myself, though. Might just go and totally redeem myself. Force them to use one of their last cards on this. I still have free counterspell. But I'm not going to use free counterspell on that. I'd rather have it to save myself from something big from my opponent instead of just interaction. Bitter Blossom. Okay, here's my plan. I'm going to let it resolve. They have one card in hand. It's time to cast Sky Turtle. Many such cases. You're not allowed to counter this. Thank you. All right. Now, the fairy tokens do have flying, so they aren't just dead yet. Still have Flare of Denial. I could have protected the Sky Turtle with Flare of Denial, too. That would have been worth it. Always yield. And we did it. I forgot. That was only game 1 or 2. I thought that was the whole match. And I'm sideboarded already, so I must have lost the first game. All right. For real, now I'm going to try to win. I still don't think that bringing in Foundation Breaker is good enough just against Bitter Blossom. Because I don't think that card's very good. Could be wrong. Could totally get owned here. This hand's pretty good as long as I can dodge the turn 1 Tameo. Alright, it looks like we did it. Alright, I dare you to play Tameo. Please play Tameo. No Tameos. Bummer. Need to go get black mana. Let's get Watery Grave and Force Cycle. I'm actually going to get basic Forest here because my opponent could have the Merfolk. And now I think it's worth it to Overlord. If opponent casts the Merfolk, I can still cast Charlotte's Agent. By Merfolk, I mean the 3-mana Harbinger of the Seas, the Blood Moon for islands. They counterspell, that's understandable. Hopefully I didn't just get baited into the slow game with Tameo. How horrible would that have been if the opponent went like Tameo, draw spell, and just flipped a Planeswalker on us? Would have been pretty bad, that's the answer. Okay, do I start firing it off? I'm gonna see what Street Wraith has to say about it first. Nothing to do with this Awaken right now. Okay, Dismember is decent. So I will play that. And next turn I can have Living End with Mystical backup. They extirpate the Overlord again. I don't think that's the right play. That's just straight up card disadvantage. I mean, they don't know it. They could have gotten like 3 Overlords out of my hand, but I don't think that's how you're supposed to use extirpate in this matchup. Bitter Blossom. I'll let it resolve. Opponent needs 2 counter spells now to beat me next turn. Or Consign a Memory. That could also do it. Let's get Breeding Pool. And let's take out that Bitter Blossom. I don't want to give them any opportunities to ninjutsu, because I can't just run out of life total, even in the game where I'm doing pretty well. They either don't have a counterspell or they chose not to use it there. Opponent has a lot of lands. Alright, I guess I'll just go for the Living End. I still have 2 in the deck. I can 3-card Force of Will. I have double counterspell backup for this. Yeah, I'm all in on this Living End. Well, too bad. It's not happening. Well, okay, so I could Mystical. No, I can't Mystical. Never mind. Yeah, I can't. And that would be bad anyway, because they could still have a counterspell or a Force of Negation. Too bad. I wonder if they'll counterspell this. No, they let my Charlotte's Agent resolve in peace. Opponent's too scared. They don't want to. They don't want anything to do with my Dismember. All right, what should I do here? What would I get back? Target creature cards. So I've got Endurance, Generous Ent, Street Wraith, Generous Ent. Opponent's graveyard's not very good. They haven't cast any delve spells. However, I think I will discard Sync and get back Endurance. I just think that's a better card right now. I'll attack. And I'll just pass the turn. It's 6 cards versus 2, and all of my cards are good. All I have to do is not get blown out while I have 5 interactive spells in my hand. And I should win the game. And this is why I got Endurance. I can actually use it. We'll use the Street Wraith. Used up half my life total, but that was worth it. Alright, now it's just the slow march through the institutions. Spellstutter Sprite. I kind of prefer Spellstutter Sierra Mist, although they don't make that anymore. They might just concede to the subtlety. What they want to do is ninjutsu, clearly. I'm not going to let them. This is cool. Our opponent's playing fairies. I feel like kind of a dick. Alright, we did it. Thanks for watching, everybody.